I wasn't that guy to. I wasn't a malicious, nasty guy that wanted to hurt people. So I wasn't that guy. Do you know what I mean? I defended people against bullies. Like I was the bully's bully. Do you know what I mean? That's why I had to be so ferocious, I'd imagine.
How did it all start?
You know what? It's just environment and circumstance, isn't it? Like, my dad was a road man. My mum was like his, I don't know what they were really, because he had kids all over the country. I mean, I've got about 18, 19 brothers and sisters from all different mums. Do you know what I mean? Like, I come from a world of confusion, because there was just confused people, confused kids, having kids too young, didn't know the responsibilities. There weren't no parental support, no parental guidance. You know, I was shoplifting with my mum at the age of 4 or 5 years of age. Do you know what I mean? I was nicking money on my own by the time I was 9, 10 years of age. Do you know what I mean? I was smoking Class A drugs from the age of 11, 12, 13, crack, heroin. Ecstasies coming when I was 14, 15. And then it was crack and ecstasies, and then come down with a bit of heroin. That was just a regular occurrence every weekend. And it weren't even every weekend, it was Monday Spectrum, and then turned into Land of Oz. Tuesday would have been Limelights, Wednesday was Busby's, Thursday was Legends, Friday was somewhere, might have been Penge or something like that, and then there'd be a rave somewhere on Saturday, then there'd be the after party on Sunday, and then start again. Do you know what I mean? Do you know what? It never started with stabbings. It starts with cuttings. I remember cutting people.
Razor blade?
No, it's like we used to use scalpels. I remember because my older brothers and them lot used to go football and stuff like that, so I used to nick their weapons. So mine started with a scalpel. I remember I cut a kid with a scalpel.
At what age?
I don't know, 10, 11. Because I was more curious, like, what does it feel like to do this? What does it feel like to have that done? Like, so I was very inquisitive with sort of violent acts. So, like, the first time I got stabbed, my mate stabbed me. Like, I said to him, "Go on, stab me then." And he was like, "Go on then," because at the time I actually wanted to feel what it felt like to be stabbed. Julian, it was. Yeah, Julian Sadler, and he stabbed me. I've still got a scar on my leg. Stabbed me in my calf, and that was and I thought, oh, I couldn't walk properly for a couple of days, but it was alright after that. And I think because of that, I wasn't scared of being stabbed, madly enough. And then, yeah.
So the violence came before the drugs, or the drugs came before the violence?
Violence first.
So it was always there. You was always someone.
Yeah, I think the violence is what pushed me to the drugs, because what I've learned now is that it's burying the trauma with the drugs, and the experience is what you believe is fun. You believe you're having fun, you believe you're enjoying yourself, because you're out drunk on pills with loads of people drunk on pills talking the same shit. So you believe you're having a good time, you believe you're enjoying yourself. But the damage psychologically and mentally, because you haven't dealt with the trauma, just gets worse and worse and worse. And then the fear of dealing with the trauma when you're coming down is what you don't like doing. So may continue the drug taking until there's a crash, you know. Fortunately enough for me, I think my crashes always come in the way of prison. Because I was looking at it the other day, and I was looking at all the traumatic stages of my life, and every turning point in my life was when I come out of prison.
For the good?
Yeah, well, for the good of the world I come from. It's only been good the last time I got out in 2014 after the Dale Cregan nicking, when I got nicked for the Dale Cregan murders. When I got out of that, I just couldn't do it no more. And that was because...
The what murders?
You know Dale Cregan from Manchester?
No.
He killed the 2 police officers and the father and the son, and they threw hand grenades on them. Well, they said I was Mr. Big in that case, and I helped him stay on the run, and I made him elude capture, and I conspired in the first murder with David and Mark Short, which is all fabricated for the police to extradite me from Spain, and they fitted me up with evidence which came out in the trial, which they collapsed, you know, because they didn't want to pursue the case, because they had to basically admit that the prosecution had not used the evidence correctly. So it was a malicious prosecution. They had evidence that Dale Cregan had reason to be in the same place that I was in around the same time, but they tried to make out in the case that I was the only reason he was there, and there was no other reason for him to be in the back end of England. And that was the reason why they extradited me, because they said I kept him, harboured him, kept him away from capture, and assisted in the first 2 murders, but it was all nonsense. So that was the last time, and after I got out of that sentence, that's when the real change happened. You know,
in what sense?
I just couldn't do crime anymore. I couldn't commit crime. I couldn't be involved with criminals. You know, like, I'm not saying the day I walked out, it happened, but it was a penultimate turning point. And then after, I was 2013, 2014. So I had about 9 months. And within that 9 months, a young man sort of accumulated a large amount of money through trafficking, and he didn't realise that it was my money. And then basically I didn't realise who the kid was, and I wanted to get him shot. So I said, this little fucking cunt's taking liberties, so do me a favour and just light him up. So that means just shoot him. And then I said, who it is first, and I found out as one of my son's best mates. And that day is the day that I decided I'm not committing any more crime, because I felt like a groomer. I felt like I've been using kids and hurting kids, manipulating kids, bullying kids, and I couldn't live with it. So that was the day, 2015. I can't remember the exact date or day. A young G-man, remember, because he got, and then he's turned his life around. He come to the gym with me. He's got himself on a good platform. He's working, looking after his family, you know, and growing in a positive way in the music industry.
So you were a groomer, basically?
Pardon?
Used to groom kids, basically?
Well, that's what it is, isn't it? That's the reality. Like, this is what I've come to terms with now. Like, if you're using a young kid, yeah, or a young individual, less educated than yourself, to hold a product that's going to ultimately get him killed, robbed, beaten, or put in prison for your financial gain, what is it if it's not a groomer? You know, like, how the fuck can you love someone if you're going to put them in prison? How the fuck can you love someone if you're going to get them shot? How the fuck can you give them a product and say, don't tell anyone, I'll give it to you, otherwise I'll kill you or shoot you, you informer? Like, what the fuck? How is that not grooming? Like, it's like, you know, when the penny drops and I see the criminal fraternity for what it is. Do you know what I mean? But it was always the olders coming with the move, always the olders coming with the coup, always the olders coming with something. Why the fuck are they coming with something so great? Yeah, if they love you, why are they not doing it themselves? Do you understand? This is the thing that, since my transition, I sort of found a peace in myself. This is another thing as well, yeah, because I'll go into prisons and I'll speak to the youngsters. So the statistical facts, right? When you go to prison, I'd say for the first year of your sentence, your boys will be there, like they've got you, yeah? If you're lucky, that's if you're a major player, yeah? That's if you're putting money in people's pockets. But if you're not, and you're just a normal average person, yeah, then after about 9 months, your friends stop sending you money. And then it's just your mum and your missus, and your friends are big ballers on the road, driving their big whips, got the big watches, got the big chains, going on their holidays. They can't send you £20 a week. They can't even send you a tenner a week. Do you know what I mean? But when you come out, the first thing they give you is a big bag of drugs to go and sell for them and tell you that they love you. you know what I mean? But all the way through your sentence, they haven't paid your missus, they haven't looked after your mum, they haven't looked after your kids, they haven't even looked after you. They haven't even given you $1,000 a year. Imagine that. When you really think about it, £20 a month, right? For a year is £200 roughly, right? £240, right? You're not even worth £240 a year, but yet you tell me that they're your boys and you're prepared to die for them and sit in prison forever, and they can't even look after you properly when you're in there. Like, and that's not grooming, right? That's not grooming. That's people that love you. Think about it. If you're sitting in prison for less than £240 a year, yeah, so someone can live on the road driving a £40 motor, a £50 motor, a £6 motor, wearing a 50, 60, 70 grand watch, going on holiday every month. But you're sitting in prison not even on £240 a year. If it's not grooming, I don't know what is. And that's why I can't be a part of it no more. You know, because it is what it is. And maybe it's took me to change the narrative in that filthy little world. I mean, like, think about it. All the oldest, oh boy, come here. Yeah, I've got a bit of work down the road. You got anyone who's gaming up to do this? You got anyone who's gaming up to do that? Here, son, come here. Can you sell any gear? How much do you get it for? How about if I give it for your bump? Yeah. Hey mate, come here. Come on, man, what the fuck? It's like noncy conversations, bro. Yeah? Imagine if you was just doing that for kids, child pornography. It's the same chat. Come here, kid, do you want a bag of sweets? Get in my car. Do you know what I'm saying? Same principle, mate.
But you did that too.
Yeah, I know I've done it, and that's why, look, I'm not embarrassed that I've done it, yeah? Because I was brought up in the world and I had a mindset, right? I'm disgusted that I lived that way for so long. That's the reality. I can't make amends too much for what I've done, right? Because some shit's just too deep. But what I can do, yeah, is help the youngsters understand that there's no way, it is no way of life. Yeah, it doesn't make anything, it doesn't get you anywhere, and it doesn't make you grow. The only thing you do is massage your ego, so every fucking dickhead, yeah, that's gonna go to prison in your area thinks you're the same as them. Like, what the fuck? You're only sensible if you're prepared to go to prison. How? Right. You sell drugs every day, you're running around every day, you're making money every day, right? So I'll break it down into a simplistic way of visualising the process, right? You risk your liberty every single day for a price you cannot put your finger on, because you cannot tell me how much money you earn every year. No drug dealer can, no villain can, because everything is sporadic, everything is chance, everything is luck. You don't know how much you're going to make, because you don't know who's going to run off with any gear. You don't know who's going to get nicked. Yeah, you don't know how much money you're going to rob. You know how much you're going to get for that jewellery. You don't fucking know. You're prepared to risk your liberty every single day of your life for a price you can't put your finger on, right? And what are you going to do if someone wants to rob you for your bits? What are you going to do? Because I know what I would have fucking done. I would have shot them, stabbed them, beat them. I would have done whatever it fucking took to keep my bits. So if you're at it, you're going to do the same. So therein, you will prepared to stab, shoot and kill for a price you can't put your finger on top of going to prison every single day. And look in the mirror, yeah, and call yourself sensible. I risk my liberty every single day of my life for a price I can't put my finger on. I'll stab, shoot and kill, go to prison for 1 day to life. How the fuck does that make you sensible? How does it make you one of the man them? Like, huh? And then when people that have got a couple of million quid look at you and think, oh, I don't want to be around him, you think they're racist. What the fuck? Like, come on, man. Like, we've got to change the narrative by our behaviours and conduct. And if I can do it, anyone can fucking do it. And that's how simple, that's the message I'm trying to get out here. If I can become a businessman, and if I can get to Downing Street, and I've been the dirtiest little member there's been, yeah, one of.
How deep was you in it?
You can't get any deeper, bruv. Like, people that watch this, that know the world, or know, they know me, they know you can't, I'm not here to brag, yeah, but you can't get deeper, you can't do more, there's nothing else to do. There's nothing else to do. I've done whatever there was to be done. Do you understand? So,
how did you get to Spain?
I drove. Do you know what, yeah? how I got to Spain, right? I wasted my whole adult life, right? I wasted my whole adult life running around for my elders, running around for the people that I looked up to and respected from the criminal fraternity, and I wasted my life. It's been alleged that I've shot, murdered. It's been alleged that I've chopped, beaten, everything physically you could imagine doing with a firearm, a knife, a bat, a hammer, whatever. It's been alleged I've been involved in. Okay, I've been away for armed robbery. I've been away for firearms. I've been away for violence. I've been away for possessions. I've been away for conspiracies. I've been away for attempted. I've been under investigation for every crime you could ever imagine, apart from sexual offences and kidnapping and blackmail. So they're the only things I haven't been arrested for. So I don't know how deeper you can go. I don't know what else there is to do, and I made it to the highest level of every venture I got involved in because I couldn't have a boss. Just over £1 million, I'll say. You know, because you can't be exact because I never got caught. Do you know what I mean? And I don't want to be on camera like I'm gloating, but it wasn't a regular occurrence, the millions, but the hundreds of thousands, tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands was regular, and the millions for me was once. Do you know what I mean? But then handling other products and doing other things, you come accustomed to large amounts of money. But in one hit, it's just over £1 million for me.
And there's a security van, or
pardon?
Security van.
That was a security van, yeah.
Okay. How many cases would you say you've been arrested for?
In total?
Yeah.
I don't know, hundreds. I've got 76 convictions, but not every conviction, not every arrest leads to a conviction. Do you understand? So.
And what's the most you ever done at any one go?
5.5 years.
And altogether?
In jail?
Yeah, what have you done altogether in jail?
5, 12, 10. I don't know that long. I've only actually spent about 9 years behind the door, but the sentences are not 9 years, if that makes sense. I mean, you got 19, 20 years, but I haven't served 20 years behind the door. They're only the sentences. I've only served 7 or 9 years behind the door, which I believe is a good stat in comparison to what I was up to. Do you know what I mean? So when I was in it, I wasn't a jail bird, because I know people who was in and out of jail like you couldn't imagine. I went to jail once every 4 years or once every 5 years. Do you know what I'm saying, Joe? And I went away for what they call a high impact crime. You know what I mean? So it was either armed robbery or firearms. I was always arrested for it, you know.
I read somewhere that used to import drugs from Morocco.
Yeah, there's lots of things been alleged. You know. And when you're living in a criminal fraternity and you're dealing with products, then you can, at certain levels, you're connected to everybody. So drugs come from one place and they travel through Europe. So by the time it gets to England, you've dealt with I don't know how many firms, because you've got certain, like for argument's sake, if you buy a couple of ton of puff and you put it on a wagon and the wagon takes off, that wagon's going to deliver that puff all the way back to England. It stops off in Belgium, stops off in Holland, it stops off, dropping off other gear. It ain't just one person's gear on that wagon. So wherever it stops off, there's other villains that all know each other because they all party with each other come summer. Do you know what I mean? And it's all part of the same groups. All the same groups use the same transports. Do you know what I mean? That's why when them devices went down, everyone's gone, because they're all connected. Do you know what I mean? There's no once it falls. And that was the other thing as well. I got to the highest level and I see the people at the top, mate, all struggling for money. Do you know what I mean? Like all arguing for money and just setting people up. Like it's just bad, like setting people up to owe money, setting people up to die. Like it's why? For what? You know, like you get involved in a business and the end result, someone's actually making a plan, yeah? So you make money and then they can kill you and take all your contacts. Like, What's the world? Where are you going? And that happens regularly. There's people from West London that have done that. People from North London have done it. People from West London and East London. They've ironed out their own people to take over control of what that person was doing before them. How? Do you know what I mean? And people throwing you to the wolves, the olders, yeah? Throwing people. They're giving you a product, knowing the police are coming to nick you, and you're going to prison.
So you were selling drugs in the UK, and then you just wanted to go to Spain?
No, I wasn't a drug dealer.
Never?
No. See, I was a different kind of criminal. Like, I was a money getter. So I stole money. I stole things of high value. Because people like me weren't allowed to get bank accounts back in the 80s or 90s, we never got the green light to get a bank account. So we had never had any sort of secure places to leave money. So I found a niche which served me purpose and served someone else. So I wouldn't say I was a drug dealer, but what I would do, I would buy drugs and I'd give you the drugs to sell cheaper than anybody else, and I wouldn't make no money on it because I paid for the drugs. I don't want none of the profit. All I want is what I paid for them. So to me, I was just banking my money by helping you make money. That was my principle behind it. Other people have a different ethos for what they do because they want to make all the money, but mine wasn't about making money. Mine was about storing my money. Do you understand? When you say you nick £200,000-300,000, right? Where are you going to put £200,000 in cash? Do you understand? Where are you going to put £180,000? Where are you going to put £60,000? You've got to keep it in cupboards. So if someone boots your door off, it's gone. If the police come, you nick. So you give it to someone else who's going to spend it. You leave it somewhere else, someone's going to nick it. Like, what the fuck? So I thought, what can I do with all this money? All right, I like this kid. This kid's good. He makes a lot of money. What do you do? Yeah, all right. Do you want a bit of kit? I'll get you kit. How much you pay for it? $5.50. I'll give it to you for £4. Better quality. How about that? They go, yeah, sweet, boom, crash wallops. I'll give it to them. They get the sniff. Sniff. How much you pay for it? 30 quid. I'll give it to you for 25. They say, yeah, sweet. I go, crash bang one. There you go. And that was how I banked my money. So I wasn't actually a drug dealer. You know, I just helped people and facilitated people achieve their goals, and I was just a facilitator in that world that helped people achieve goals, really, more than anything. And I suppose that's why I made such, I don't know what it is, made a name for myself in the game, because I could get anything and I could do anything. So I was a valuable asset in the criminal fraternity, because all of a sudden I've turned my life around. It's the fucking reality. I'm glad I turned my life around, because I don't want to be a granddad burdened with that stress, pressure or reality. Do you know what I mean? And I think me doing what I'm doing now is at the right time, because I'm young enough to be received, understood and respected for what I'm saying. And it's just up to the elders now to jump on board and just say, look, he's right, mate. We've all been mugs, mate. Fuck this, let's get into business. Let's start exploring business. I've only been exploring business 4 or 5 years, and I'm stressed, in debt, but I'm comfortable, if that makes sense. Do you know what I mean? And you wouldn't even believe how I'm living at the moment. But I'm still not going to prison. People still don't want to kill. No one of late wants to kill me. We'll always have enemies, because it's the life we led, and there's always going to be someone out there hating. But I've had more people than not reach out to me that we've been in contact with, or we've had issues with, I've had dramas with, and we've made peace. You know, so it's a slow progress to normality, but that's where I feel I'm going right now, you know, becoming normal rather than being insane.
Well, it's really hard to talk to you without mentioning the eye.
Yeah, but you know, it's just, the eye makes me happy now, yeah, because now, it's what I say to the kids is this, yeah, it's the best thing that ever happened to me, right? Because if I never lost my eye, I would never see as clear as I see today, yeah? If I never lost my eye, I wouldn't be sitting here today. If I never lost my eye, I don't know how much damage I'd be creating today.
So that's not a real eye?
No. She's not real. She's not real. No, that's glass, look. What? Now that's my optic nerve. I've still got my optic nerve in my retina. I can get a lens and see. One of these are 170 grand.
And actually see.
And I'll be able to see out the eye again. I feel like I can see now. It's just like when you look at the sun for too long and it goes black. That's what it feels like. Like I've been looking at the sun. That's what it feels like. There's a black patch over my eye.
I see.
It's mad.
Yeah.
But without that, I wouldn't see as clear as I can today. So to me, my shooting was my blessing. It was my trial and retribution.
Who shot you?
A guy called Mark Ashman.
How did he shoot you?
Pulled the gun out. Pulled the gun out and went bang, 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 bang. He was my driver. He was my driver in Spain. And he took a watch off a friend of mine and he never paid for it. So I had the and I was going to go and beat him up for not paying for the watch. But he pulled a gun out instead and shot me 5 times. That's the story that's in the papers. So that's the story we'll stick with.
Point blank, yeah?
Point blank. Once in the leg. I've got one in the leg, I've dropped. As I've dropped, I've got to get up, he shot me through the arm. I fell back. As I fell back, he shot me through my willy. He went down my willy and shot my testicle into my pants. And as I've come back, he bent over and just shot me twice in the face.
So you saw the bullet actually come?
Yeah, I see the bullet actually come towards my eye. It was like a fab. And yeah. It was, leave it. This fat cunt's killed me. How? He's got his, what is it? He had his belly button pierced and his nipple. I remember that was the last thought I had. So how the fuck can this guy who's got his belly button pierced and his nipple kill me? And I've hit the deck and I've heard his feet running off. And I've heard someone say, Marvin, is that you? And for a split second I thought I was in heaven. I thought, bollocks. And I was like, my eyes, it was my mate from the gym. So get my phone out of the car. Got my phone out of the car. Rung the missus, tried to get her, tell her that what had happened. She was in the Courting Glade shop trying to buy a buggy or exchange the buggy that we had for the baby. Couldn't get hold of her, so I rang a couple of my mates because I thought I was going to go into shock because I knew I'd been shot in the face, so I felt I'm going to die. So I was ringing a couple of my mates to let them know exactly what happened and who done it, and no one could believe it. And then the ambulance came, I went to hospital, I passed out for the operation, woke up, and I had a big mad plate, big mad pins on my leg. And then got told I'm never going to walk again. And then I started doing all the research. That was a transition to the diet, really. So I started doing the research on how I could get my body back to perfection. And then I found out that no amount of food, substance, introvert, external, when you intravenously take or orally take anything, gives your bones calcium. So I found out that the only thing that recalcifies bone is broken bone, and the only way you're going to get thicker bone is by keep breaking it. So they discharged me from hospital because I refused to take morphine or medication. Any addictive substance they said I had to take for near enough 2-3 years. I was like, what? I ain't doing that. It's like, well, you need to. I said, I don't. I'll do it without it. And that was, then they kicked me out of the hospital, and that's when I decided to break my leg. So I just broke it for the next 18 months. Slowly, 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 I ended up walking again. And walking in my swimming pool with my air bands on, letting a bit of air out every day. And over the space of 18 months, I was walking.
Did it all by yourself?
Yeah. Me and a guy called Sam Wilbur. Sam Wilbur on me.
And the guy who shot you, what happened to him?
He handed himself in. He went and handed himself in 2 weeks after. Well, I think once they realised I was alive, they went and handed themselves in with a prepared statement that said that I was a hitman from London that turned up to kill the guy, and he took the gun off me and shot me 5 times accidentally. That was his defence.
Did it work?
No, because he ended up... I never went to court, never made a statement, but he ended up getting, I think, an 8 or 9. Yeah. But then he got sent back to England, finished his sentence and got out. I was Essex, old Essex boy. But you know what? I actually want to work with him, believe it or not. Because I believe with my transition, we could develop a programme to teach the youngsters that it just ain't worth it.
So you guys are in contact?
I'd like to get in contact with him, yeah. I want him to develop a program with me about forgiveness and retribution, you know. And at the end of the day, if I can stand in the room with the same geezer that shot me, being one of the most violent people you'd ever come across, because I was a pretty sick individual, like traumatised, vulnerable human being, mate, that had real bad violent tendencies. And that's just being honest. I never had any control over my emotions. I still struggle with them now at times, but now I refuse to be violent with them. But I do get aggressive every now and then. I raise my voice, screw my face up. I lose the plot still, but I just control it enough where I do not become violent. Because that's the one, you just can't lose it no more. I can't go to prison. Can't go to prison no more. It's just, for what? I mean, if it means I've got to work every day of my life advocating crime's no good, then that's what I'll do for the rest of my life. So I'm happy doing it, you know. And I'm getting received well. I get a lot of attention across the country. I travel all over the country. People shout me out all the time. So I thank everybody for that, you know, because that just inspires me to keep doing what I'm doing. And the reality of it is, everybody knows it's the truth, because no one really wants to be in it. No one enjoys it when they're in it. We enjoy spending the money from time to time, but we don't enjoy it. Everybody wants that. Everybody wants that. You're waiting for that next bit of graft to get out, to do something amazing. And you know what I'm talking about. That's what we do. Get 50 grand, we start this, we do that, we never get back there, we do this, we do that, we do it. It's all bullshit, mate. We need to learn how to do business first, educate ourselves a little bit better, and not risk our liberties. There's no shortcuts, you know. Everything takes 18 months to 3 years to build. After 3 years, you'll start generating a decent financial revenue stream. You either do that or spend a lifetime chasing your tail, causing trauma, dramas, and fucking headaches. And you'll be lucky, like exceptionally lucky, if you don't end up an alcoholic or a junkie. Because I wouldn't class myself as a junkie. I wouldn't say I was a junkie, right? That's how mad it is, right? I wouldn't class myself as a junkie. But up until the age of 25, possibly 30, yeah, I took Class A drugs every day. Does that make you a junkie? Yes, it does. Do you know what I mean? And it wasn't just one drug, it was like a myriad of drugs, like a variety. Do you know what I mean? Like, you start with one Class A, do you know what I mean? And then you go through a couple of Class A's, a bit Class B, and then finish the night off with a bit of Class A. But you're not a junkie. Do you know what I mean? Like, where's the fucking madness in it? You're not a junkie because you're standing in a bar with 7 or 8 people sniffing coke every day. Yeah, you're not a junkie. But if you're in a house on your own, quiet, not troubling no one, you're a junkie. Like, it's madness. Class A drugs every single day makes you a junkie. It's as simple as that. I was a junkie. I was a high-class junkie, but I was a junkie nonetheless. Was I confused every day? Yes, I was. Was I high every day? Yes, I was. Was I out of my nut every day? Yes, I was. Was I out of touch with reality every day? Yes, I was. I was a junkie. So I buried my trauma with drink and drugs, and I traumaed myself back to sanity. I traumaed myself back to sanity, but I wouldn't ask or advise anybody to do the same because it wasn't fun, you know. I had some moments, but my life has been a nightmare, which I wouldn't wish on anyone. And knowing what I know now, I've been an absolute 100% cunt of a man, of a dad, as a partner, and a person. Now it's time for me to change that narrative within myself, my belief and my behaviour, and become a better human being, and help others become a better human being too.